So, Essence of Thought is somebody who has kind of been involved essentially in the Lily Orchard hoopla, right? Essence of Thought has made many a video on Lily Orchard and discussed ad nauseum Lily Orchard. That's kind of, I would say that's kind of like a focal point of her content at this point, or at least that's the content that she's made that kind of sticks out to me in my mind. She is taking pot shots at Courtney, which I find to be quite a mistake. Quite a mistake. It's called "Don't Poke the Bear," Ethel. So it's gonna be. This is gonna be interesting because again, I would argue that you probably shouldn't be taking shots at the people who are central to this quote unquote drama. I don't really know if I would call it drama. That sounds kind of harsh, but you know what I mean. So we'll start there. We'll start there. Okay.
Guess who's back again. Courtney's back. Tell a friend. Was that cringe? Probably.
A little bit.
But this is a bit of a lighter video, so I have the room to be a silly goose. This video's a bit different than the rest of them will be here on this channel. Today's video is targeted directly at Ethel. I told you I hadn't forgotten about you. I promised I was going to let everyone know what a greedy clown you are. Now,
let's go.
Ethel Thurston is the face and voice of the channel Essence of Thought, known to this community for her coverage of Lily, my sister. Ethel did some basic coverage of my sister a year or two ago. Well, basic is being generous. She did some shitty coverage of my sister to involve herself and make herself a victim to cry and whine.
Oh my god, wait a minute. What is this?
She did some shitty coverage of my sister to involve herself and make herself...
Lily Orchard sexually harassed me publicly. Oh god. Oh no, she's gonna be like, I'm the ultimate victim. Oh no.
A victim to cry and whine. Am I being facetious? Do I care? No, not really.
Okay.
Not at all. Ethel dropped off the face of the earth in terms of covering my sister a year ago. She got her coin and moved on to her beef with Rachel Oates. What is her beef with Rachel Oates? Not a goddamn clue, and I don't care in the slightest. All I know is overkill tends to imply the feelings are personal, and the way she beats that dead horse within an unrecognizable inch of its bone structure tells me that beef is personal. I don't care about algorithm bullshit and milking content for views. I care about the fact that my sister's preying on people and children. You know.
Okay, fair.
Like you claim to care about Ethel.
Mm-hmm.
So for all intents and purposes, Ethel checked out of what she called Lily drama. And no, Ethel, I don't have to show you where you said that. I don't owe you jack shit. And moved the fuck on.
Go.
Meanwhile, I came onto the scene and started doing something. Because I have the means to do so, being Lily's actual sister, knowing far more than Ethel did by having a whole group of people picking over years of documentation for her. I tried for months to get into contact with you, Ethel. Through so many avenues, I tried to reach out. How did you respond? Oh, right. You didn't. What did she do? Well, Ethel tried to claim Evangelina plagiarized her series on my sister because of the screenshots that were used. Screenshots that came from Tumblr, from blogs like Brit, Gallade, Morals, and a few others who had spent years documenting Lily's shady shit while Ethel was busy doing whatever it was she was doing. I don't watch her content. It's boring, and her dictation could rival the most ancient of Harvard professors. They came from archive links that Ethel did not make.
Goddamn,
Dailymotion archives she didn't even know existed. Screenshots Ethel is now trying to say she owns the rights to. I, however, find it odd that she thinks she owns the rights when I have the Google Docs and the Dailymotion archives right here. They will be linked in the comments section so everyone can see what Ethel saw. Oh wait, what she had other people see and pick through for her. She also refused to get me into contact with the minor that Lily sexted. The minor she touted in her boring-ass video that she was in contact with. With screenshots of Lily sexting a minor, I can actually go to the cops and do something. Ethel doesn't care. She cares more about a decision made over a year ago without the avenue of me, who lives in the same province and can actually go to the cops, with little involvement of the minor in question. Ethel doesn't care. She cares more about what she is able to do. Gatekeep a victim for clout and virtue signaling, as well as cutting that victim off from an avenue of justice that they may want now. That victim should have the opportunity to make the decision themselves today with the new information available instead of what was supposedly said to you 2 years ago. When Ethel did finally reach out, it was because I had called her out for not getting me in contact with a minor that was sexted. Granted, I had misremembered her own claims in my call-out, something I have since rectified. The only reason Ethel reached out was to clear her name regarding my mix-up and insist that she didn't call it Lily drama.
Damn, that's so fucked up.
After all this time of me trying to get into contact, this snake reaches out only when I embarrass her under her own video of clownery, and only to clear her name. Did she have anything to say about my sister?
That's fucked up.
No. Anything to say about my story? No. Anything about her lack of contact? Not until I brought it up. All she cared about was getting me to retract what I said under her video. The comment pointing out how she's had nothing to do with this for over a year and has the whole grain, free-range, antibiotic-free audacity to claim any sort of plagiarism. H-Bomber guided me these videos so that money-hungry snakes like you could get your bag. When I said that she could have got me the means to have Lily charged, she pushed back that she's protecting the victim. I pushed that she went after an additional avenue to get word out about my sister. She touted that her videos are still out there. Her videos. That are over a year old, impossible to sit through without a 5-hour energy and 3 lines of cocaine, and simply not
Courtney!
good enough. I know the information she had access to. I know what she
Holy fuck.
I know what she left out. It speaks volumes that you didn't include the terror logs, the EO3 accounts, or the reality of Stockholm. The reality being that, agree with it or not, writing and publishing that to the internet is a crime in the province of Nova Scotia. Lily is guilty of creating and distributing child sexual exploitation material by writing that fic. It's not just a dark fic or a concerning story. It's a federal offense in the country she lives in. It takes one damned Google search to know that child sexual exploitation material, fictional or otherwise, is illegal in Nova Scotia, in all of Canada, written and pictureless included. Again,
yeah, man, it just reads like she just wants
if I had the screenshots of her sexting
the monopoly in the bag.
Here, I could have something done here. Could potentially get her hard drive seized. Unlike Ethel, who lives where again? Not a single bus ride away from Lily, I'll tell you that much. Ethel made comments about Vangelina taking bread from her starving mouth, as if the monetary revenue is the most important thing regarding ousting my sister, the predator. Made vague underlying threats of my wife, who's also a lawyer, as if she has the direct means to come at Vangelina legally, despite not having an actual case. She also says in the next breath that the two were starving. Sorry, Ethel, but if your wife is a lawyer, it kind of implies that you're at least making ends meet, if not well off. Sure, you aren't Johnny Cochran rich, but that's easily more money than the average person makes a year, even on the low end. Add on top the fact that you're a semi-successful YouTuber, you aren't strapped for cash, and we all know it. So kindly sit down, rest your injured foot you like to bring up so much, and shut the fuck up. I told you in the DMs, and I will tell you now. Actions speak louder than words, and yours, or lack thereof, have been deafening. I am the captain now.
Oh.
Your time white knighting for victims of my sister for cash money is over. Get your greedy, money-hungry snake ass back in the swamp where you belong.
Courtney, oh my god.
You like to try and bully people and throw your social weight around. I implore you to try with me. Have your lawyer
Courtney,
wife
oh my god,
chill. Give you her notes. Threaten me with vague legal action. Try a cease and desist. See if that gets the, oh, well, I'm scared reaction you're always trying to go for. I had plans on being a lawyer myself for most of my life. Arguing semantics is my bread and butter. Come at me, snake. Pick on someone your own size. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose, and honey bun, I'm free as a bird.
Oh my god, Courtney.
With that, we come to the end of my call out, and
oh my god, she's a fucking savage, dude. She, oh my god, she always eats and leaves no crumbs. Oh my god. Slay. Okay, let's see what Essence of Thought has to say about this, shall we? We might have to speed this up to 1.75. Ethel is a very slow speaker. Courtney is fucking, oh my god, dude. She's like a force of nature. She just goes. No breaks. She doesn't have that feature. The Courtney Pete / Courtney Orchard did not come equipped with brakes. They have to recall the entire fucking thing because she just goes, and it's amazing to watch. It's like, god damn, she just does not fuck around. And it's always fun when people like Courtney come in contact with like the uwu soft bean side of things because they have no fucking idea what to do with her. Like they don't know how to respond. You know what I mean? And it is just so comical to me. It's so comical to me. All right, guys, let's go. Let's go.
Putting my mix up and insist that she didn't call it Lily drama. After all this time of me trying to get into contact, this snake reaches out only when I embarrass her under her own video of clownery and only to clear her name. Did she have anything to say about my sister? No. Anything to say about my story? No. Anything about her lack of contact? Not until I brought it up.
Oh really? I didn't mention anything about our lack of contact when I reached out to you, at least not until you brought it up.
God.
Then I guess you won't mind me reading my opening message to you on Tumblr. Quote, I told Grit you were welcome on the Lily Orchard Command Center Discord server when they confirmed it was you back in May of 2023, also asking whether you like a group call or whether you like to talk to us individually. Don't know why they never followed up. I assumed that they were talking to you about it, but I'd already begun my series about the events of 2019, which I'm still working on. Screenshots also explain why I haven't responded to random comments claiming to be Lily's family, as you're not the only one. I wanted to approach you about this in private as I have no ill will towards you, and I don't want to publicly shame you for criticizing me with only half the picture. I get why you're mad. Just felt you should know I wasn't opposed to talking to you. End quote. Along with my message, I supplied 2 screenshots of me telling Grit that was okay to add Courtney to the server, before asking Grit how Courtney would like to talk to us. I then followed up said evidence by stating that I was sorry that Poppy had sexually harassed them. Courtney's response, refusing to talk about anything other than the screenshots they wrongly believed I had. Isn't it interesting how Courtney never shows you that part of the conversation, being very selective in what they do?
Okay, so what is... Is there timestamps on these? Okay, so... You can come into the Lily Orchard Command Center Discord server. Ooh. So... Okay, in reading this, in my opinion, I don't know if this makes her look any better. So she is basically saying, like, you know, this is all the shit that I'm still doing in the background. Yay me, I'm doing so well. Anyway, you can join if you want. Here's screenshots of me saying that I'll talk to you. And then, sorry about blah, 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 blah. And then she goes, do you have the screenshots of Lily sexting a minor or not? So Courtney went on Poppy and Xena's thing in August of 2023. These are from... not a fucking date on here. So back in the May of 2023. Okay, so this is what it reads to me. Okay. Sorry, my brain is still waking up a little bit. So what it looks like to me is, so as early as May of 2023, Courtney was trying to talk to people about Lily. So she had reached out to Essence of Thought and everybody else. She got on to talk to Poppy and Xena in August, is when that occurred. And then, so now she's like backtracking. So we can see that this is like the first message. Right, so this is the first message that she's having with her, saying like, you know, TBT, you know, you were allowed in the Discord server, blah, 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 here's this. And then Courtney's kind of over it and is like, did you just have the screenshots or not? Because I want to just like get shit going or whatever. That's how it's reading to me. And I could be reading that wrong, but maybe we'll get more context in here. But it's reading to me like she wanted to talk to Ethel. Ethel just fucking ghosted her and then reached out to her after Courtney called her out on her post, and then she was like, oh, by the way, you know, blah, 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 here's me saying it's okay to talk to Courtney or whatever, and Courtney's just over it, and is like, okay, well, do you have the screenshot or not? That's how it reads to me.
I was sorry that Poppy had sexually harassed them. Courtney's response, refusing to talk about anything other than the screenshots they wrongly believed I had. Isn't it interesting how Courtney never shows you that?
Okay, wrongly believed that I had. Who, okay. I need to not pause it, Andy, because I want all this context here. But I'm assuming that there is proof that Ethel claims to have had these screenshots at one point.
Part of the conversation, being very selective in what they do share. I'm not going to do that. Our full conversation will be linked down below, minus a single message Courtney sent that I sadly missed before their account was terminated, so you can see exactly what was said in full context. Point is, Courtney wasn't the one who brought the topic up, they were the one refusing to talk about it, at least to begin with. I was the one who started there for reasons we'll discuss later on. We'll also get to the screenshots I shared. So, Courtney couldn't have made a more blatant lie if they tried, which would lead any rational person to question, what else could they be lying about? Indeed, Courtney seems to think that I'm going to take their lies.
That's kind of a stretch, is it not?
Never reacting, never sharing evidence of what was actually said between us, meaning they'll never be caught, that they can just go on lying to the greater Lily Orchard.
I don't think anyone other than Ethel has ever appeared on Ethel's channel. Probably.
Critical community. Well, it's time for Courtney to get a reality check. But first, a quick content warning for the following. Grooming, sexual harassment, domestic abuse, police violence, trauma, transmisia, and transmisogyny. If you like our work and appreciate the research put into each video, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon. Support us by liking, commenting, and sharing this video on social media. I'd also just like to take the time to remind our viewers that the statements made throughout our videos are the opinions of myself, the host, based on the evidence I have available to me. They are not and should not be taken as unquestionable fact, which is why we reference everything, because we're valuable. Thus, we strive to give you, the viewer, the ability to check all evidence for yourself in order to make up your own mind, which is what the reference numbers in the top.
Okay, this is boring as fuck. Can you like get into it?
Critical community who have been lying to the rest of said community about what took place in the background regarding the creation of our series covering Lily Orchard. Today's video will be a response to Brittany's call-out video, building on the previous response in which we showed how both Britt and Courtney were lying when they claimed that we stole the research for our Lily Orchard series. So if you haven't seen that, I suggest doing so before this video. It also contains a chapter giving some context for everything, context I don't plan on repeating here. Note that the only reason I'm going public with this evidence is because both Britt and Courtney have demonstrated a malicious disregard for the truth. I tried reaching out to both of them in private. Not only that, but, as we just saw in my initial message, I even told Courtney that I was doing so because I didn't want to drag them publicly, potentially breaking the community's trust in them. But Courtney chose to continue promoting said misinformation, turning it into disinformation.
I just don't know how she can kind of, like, posture as the authority on Lily Orchard when her sister is the one that's, like, publicly correcting her or publicly disagreeing with her. Like, am I missing something here? If I'm missing something, somebody please correct me. But I don't think that there's ever a circumstance where she's going to look like she's in the right here. Like, this just kind of feels like optical suicide to me, right? Like, this is the person that Lily, like, literally abused, right? I might just be missing something, but this seems like a mistake.
I.e. a lie, leaving me no other option than to go public. I will be sharing private correspondence between both myself and Britt, as well as myself and Courtney. This is a last resort. I don't like the fact that I'm being forced to do this, but I am, ultimately, being forced to, as we'll discuss later on in the
I just have such a bad taste in my mouth because of, like, the Vangelina thing. Like, you're not being forced to do anything. Truly. Like, I'm not loving this. Like, it's not really, I don't think it's doing what she wants it to do. Like, this just comes across, like, immediately. We're, like, 5 minutes into this video. This just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. I don't know. I don't know.
Chapter about protecting Lily Orchard's victims. I will also be sharing screenshots of the private Discord server I set up, which both Brit and Onion were a part of. All personal information will be blocked from our screenshots in order to avoid doxing people. So if you see a redacted quote, that is why. The context of the quotes should give you a general sense of what has been removed. I also want to make it clear that I'm giving Brit, Onion, and Courtney full permission to do the same, so long as they go about blocking out any and all private information. We're doing this since the only way to effectively address accusations of shady practices is to bring everything into the light. That is why we're here. Though, before we get to the video, we should probably start with the post that sparked me to reach out to Courtney with the message read out at the start, which was their response to someone asking their opinion on the whole Vangelina Scott situation. Of particular note is the assertion that, quote, Ethel claims to have screenshots of Lily sexting a minor and still has not addressed that with me, who could use those and actually have Lily charged, end quote. So, quite a charged accusation, with Courtney telling people that our supposed refusal to share evidence might be the reason Lily Orchard hasn't been charged, effectively accusing us of aiding a sexual predator. Yet, interestingly, this is not the aspect we chose to address in our opening message to Courtney, but they flat out refused to discuss anything until we gave them said screenshots.
Well, yeah. Is that surprising? Is that surprising? Like, hey, Queen, it's me, just checking in. I saw that you left a mean comment on my YouTube video. Anyway, I just wanted to clear the air and, you know, shoot the shit and, you know, hope that all is well, blah, blah, blah. And it's like the only thing that Courtney has wanted in all of this is for the evidence so that, like, she could actually get her sister in trouble for something, like, tangible, right? Not just, like, in the court of public opinion, like, where she actually did something illegal. Like, is that surprising to her? Honestly? Like, and again, this reads to me, if I am missing something, somebody please let me know. This reads to me like she did straight up just ignore, you know, Courtney for X amount of time, and then once Courtney started being like a big enough hater, she reached out and was like, hey, by the way, we don't have any beef, and Courtney's like over it. She's like, I tried to get on your platform for, you know, quite a bit of time to try and help with this because, like, you know, this is my sister essentially, and she's kind of done playing that game, right? Like that. Am I crazy in my reading of that? That's how I'm reading that. So I could be wrong. Somebody please feel free to correct me, but that is how I'm reading it.
When I asked them to supply proof of us claiming to have such evidence, they naturally couldn't find any, leading them to apologize before going on to edit their post to include the following update. Quote, super big edit, I've gotten something wrong. Ethel was in contact with a minor that was sexted, did not claim to have screenshots, I remembered that wrong, that's all on me, end quote, which is something Courtney went on to allude to in their video.
Granted.
Okay, so she corrected it then. Okay, so then what's the beef? So if she was wrong and she corrected it, we're just like, what's the issue then?
I had misremembered her own claims in my call-out, something I have since rectified.
The thing to note about this is just how vague it is. Courtney is never clear about the specifics of what they got wrong, just that they did before patting themselves on the shoulder for rectifying their mistake. Now, this alone wouldn't be a big problem, were it not for the fact that Courtney repeats the accusation that I was withholding said screenshots at multiple points throughout their video.
She also refused to get me into contact with the minor that Lily sexted.
Okay, no. She's saying, ooh, Ethel, you little snake, you weaselly little snake. She's saying that, like, she agrees with her, like, basically amendum to what she had said, that you don't have the screenshots, but you are in contact with the person who was sexted. That, like, you don't have the screenshots of the sexting, but you know the person who was sexted. And so Courtney wants you to be the middle piece where you know who was sexted, connect them together. So Courtney can get the screenshots and Courtney can do something legally about it. That's... How? What?
The minor she touted in her boring-ass video that she was in contact with. With screenshots of Lily sexting a minor, I can actually go to the cops and do something. Ethel doesn't care. Again, being in the same province as my sister, if I had the screenshots of her sexting a minor, I could go to the cops here. I could have something done here. Could potentially get her hard drive seized. Unlike Ethel, who lives where again? Not a single bus ride away from Lily, I'll tell you that much.
Nobody watching this video, unless they decided to randomly dig through Courtney's now terminated Tumblr, is going to realize that this is misinformation, that I never claimed to have said screenshots.
Okay, but she goes on to say in the video that you just played the clip. The clip is that she wanted to be in contact with that person so she could get the screenshots and go to the cops. What? Is she okay?
Having a correction elsewhere on a now deleted Tumblr doesn't mean it's okay to repeat said misinformation in a separate piece. It actually makes it worse. Not only are they promoting that misinformation to a new audience, they're promoting misinformation they previously admitted wasn't true, making it active disinformation.
Am I fucking crazy? Did I hear that wrong? Did Courtney not just say, like, no, I just want to be in contact with the person that you say was sexted so I can get the screenshots. Like, did I hear that wrong? Because that's what I heard.
I.e. a lie, just so that they can claim that I quote-unquote don't care, whilst accusing me of aiding a sexual predator who preys on children. That's horrific enough, regardless of who it's done to, but in this context, this is outright transmisogyny. Courtney is knowingly...
What? What? Come on, you can't be serious. This isn't oh my god, bro. This is gonna be an excruciating fucking watch. Oh my god.
A trans person
anyone who disagrees with me is being transmisogynistic. And anyone who calls me out on this behavior is in fact a transmisogynist. It's like, dude, like, that's not what's happening.
Presenting them as being complicit in child sexual abuse at the height of the ongoing anti-trans mold.
Oh, okay, because everybody's being mean to trans people right now. Courtney's saying, like, dude, you're being, like, a huge piece of shit because you're not putting me in contact with this person because I can literally get fucking Lily arrested for shit. And you're like, but as a trans woman in the height of the trans genocide, it's... No. Oh my fucking god, dude.
Panic conflating trans people with grooming children.
Oh god.
Dangerous. And again, Courtney knows their life.
You can only make this leap in a country where you have, like, nationalized health insurance. Because anywhere else, dude, you would break a fucking rib making this jump. Holy shit. That's crazy. She's basically accusing me of being a groomer because she said that I won't leak the screenshots. Therefore, she hates trans women and wants me to be murdered and lynched. Oh my god. This is going to be a hard watch, boys.
Fine. They just don't care. Their only objective at this point is to hurt me for some slight they imagined. Sadly, this wasn't the only piece of misinformation.
Okay, I don't understand how you can watch Courtney's video and think that she's just trying to, like, hurt you. She's not. She's done playing bullshit games. She's like, you have the ability to get me in contact with somebody who can actually get Lily in trouble. And you're not doing it because why? You want to be the center of attention as far as the Lily drama goes. I don't understand this, you guys.
Courtney promoted, as can be seen in the rest of the post, which, after their edit, still read as quote, "Yeah, I think it's ironic that Ethel wanted nothing more to do with what she called Lily drama for her own mental health. But when someone who is friends with Rachel Oates gets more views than she did on the same topic, covering the same past of a woman that isn't going to change, complaining about plagiarism when Delayed and Britt did most of the research and sorting, her mental health is just fine then. I went public half a year ago. Ethel avoided my attempts to get in touch with her. She was given my Discord and never reached out to me herself, knowing I was trying to get in contact. But she is more concerned with plagiarism, that never happened, by the way, than actually doing something about a predator and pedophile. I think her newfound interest is performative and nothing more than view farming or personal beef. And I learned my lesson with Poppy."
This is... You guys. We've read a lot of Courtney screenshots. This is the nicest Courtney screenshot I've ever read. Like, this is so nice. Like, this is the nicest I think Courtney's ever been. Like, I didn't know it was possible for her to be so mild-tempered. This is so milquetoast. And Ethel is like, oh my god, this is an example of her wanting me to get murdered because I'm trans. And this is Courtney being chill as fuck, dude. Oh god.
End quote. Now, we've already debunked the assertion that it was Onion, aka Gallade, and Britt who did our research in the previous video, so that doesn't need to be addressed again. What we will address is the assertion that I labelled Lily Orchard's abuse of her victims, quote-unquote, Lily drama, with Courtney explicitly attributing said statement to me. I never said that. Ever. We actually have an informal ban on the word drama in our community server due to how the word has been used to trivialize abuse. Furthermore, I am one of the few people who calls abuse what it is in the titles of our exposés. None of these bullshit euphemisms the cash grabbers like Scorv use to avoid offending the algorithm, potentially harming their bottom dollar. I do this because I'm a victim of abuse, including child rape, and just as it hurt me to see someone refusing to name the abuse I suffered for what it is, I feel the need to avoid treating other people's abuse with the same disrespect. So to put that in quotes whilst attributing it to me is disgusting, and it's something I felt strongly enough to point out in our chat right after Courtney admitted they'd misremembered me claiming to have the screenshots. I straight up asked Courtney to supply evidence of where I'd made such a statement, adding that, had I done such, I'd like to apologise. I was hoping that they'd do the same thing as before, realise that they couldn't, apologise, and retract said misinformation. Instead, they lashed out, telling me it was, quote, too little too late, end quote, even though I had never done what they were accusing me of. This, by the way, is why Courtney went out of their way to stress the following in their video.
So for all intents and purposes, Ethel checked out of what she called Lily drama. And no, Ethel, I don't have to show you where you said that. I don't owe you jack shit. And moved the fuck on.
This is not some bold act of defiance. I requested said evidence right after they just admitted to—
I just don't... She's like trying to debate, bro, Courtney, and it's just like not working. This is... Oh god, excruciating. Listen, guys, excruciating.
Remembering something else I'd apparently said. Any reasonable person would have taken a step back, checked to make sure they weren't making the exact same mistake, and apologized once they realized they were wrong. Yet, rather than do that, Courtney effectively declared themselves to be above the need to provide evidence. I wish it went without saying that that is a dangerous standard to allow anyone to operate by. This is a revelation made worse, not better, by their earlier action in updating their post. Courtney has shown us that they can do the right thing when they've shown to be promoting this information, they just chose not to, framing this as a matter of opinion, when no, it's a matter of fact. I either did or did not label Lily Orchard's abuse of her victims quote-unquote Lily drama. There is no in-between here, no grey area. The fact that Courtney point-blank refuses to supply evidence after being caught spreading this information tells me that they know this is a lie, that they have nothing to support their accusation, but that doesn't matter, at least not in their mind. All that matters to them is hurting me. Which brings us to the assertion that I quote-unquote avoided Courtney. This is simply not true, as was expressed in my initial message read out at the start of this video. I had given Britt the green light to add Courtney to the server, and asked how Courtney would like to talk to us, a fact shown in the screenshots I provided.
Yeah, but this is like significantly after the fact. Like, this is after everything's already said and done. This is like a year later. This is after everything has already been settled. Everybody's already rode their, Lily Orchard clout train. I mean, maybe it's loading back up now because of this stuff. Maybe it's kicking back off for sure. But the discourse is over. So again, I would say if I was in Courtney's position, I would feel similarly, where it's like, you're reaching out to me now, however long after I tried to get in contact with you the first time, like, I don't have anything left to say to you. You had the opportunity to do the right thing way back when I was willing to come on and I was willing to like kind of help you do this, because it is like the principle of getting Lily in trouble essentially is more important than like the clout game to me. But now you're coming to me much later and I just don't care anymore, because you had an opportunity to do, the quote unquote right thing and like actually help, right? I just don't, oh my God, I just don't understand this. It must be the trans misogyny in me, sorry.
The reason I started with this point is that it seemed to be the root cause of Courtney's problems with me, a fact that was pretty much confirmed in a recent post they made. I thought that maybe, if I could get them to look at the evidence and see that I didn't have it out for them, they'd abandon whatever grudge they picked up. Speaking of that evidence, let's check the conversation for ourselves. Here we can see that Britt approached us about adding Courtney in May of 2023. This prompted Glade to give his reasons for not going to the police, which had been blocked out to avoid doxing him. I immediately asked whether we were certain that they were, in fact, who they claimed to be. This is something I felt the need to double check, since I've had dozens of people claim to be Lily's family and former friends, sometimes with multiple accounts claiming to be the same person, the most popular being Lily's sibling. I just wanted to make sure that was the case before inviting them into said space. Britt responded with her reasons, I said yeah, though I'm not sure how to best go about integrating them into our work. At which point I expected Britt to add Courtney, as they'd originally offered. A week later, Britt shared Courtney's account number, which I blocked out as I'm not sure if they want that to be public, yet I didn't respond. And the reason I didn't respond was because I was puking my guts out and phasing in and out of consciousness. I explained this as I came back, apologizing, asking whether Courtney wanted to talk to us individually or as a group. Britt said they didn't know, only that Courtney didn't want to talk to either Levi or Glade one-on-one due to them being fellow victims of Lily Orchard, stating that Courtney wanted a witness present. Britt also added that nothing could be made public at the time and that Courtney was looking to work alongside police. I responded to these statements with a general gotcha, acknowledging that I wouldn't make any sort of announcement, expecting Britt to ask Courtney what would work best for them in line with what I previously asked Britt about, since I didn't want to make Courtney uncomfortable by just adding them out of the blue.
Well, so even if this is just like a misunderstanding and like a miscommunication between her server and like all the mods and shit, that still falls on her, right? Because if she's the one that wants to crusade this as like, the Lily Orchard expose or, protecting the victims or caring about the victims, like at the end of the day, the responsibility still falls on her to kind of integrate her into this broader like Lily Orchard takedown. No? Especially if I'm claiming to care so much and so deeply about all this crazy shit that's going on and we have to stop this person's like a predator and so on and so forth. I would imagine that you would handle that with like a little bit more, I don't want to say professionalism, but I would like vigor, I guess. Like, would you not want to be on the ball for that? Especially if somebody can get her like in actual fucking trouble, right? And like actually get her to face consequences for what she's done. I would imagine that you would be pretty proactive in following that, right? I don't know, dude. I don't fucking get it.
Britt never got back to me. To be clear, could I have followed up? Absolutely. But, at the same time, could Britt have done the same as the person who was acting as the intermediary between myself and Courtney? Also, yes.
Why wouldn't you be the intermediary? Why would you leave that to somebody else? Because this could have been like a huge nuke for her. Like this could have been, I know that like obviously we are kind of tactfully avoiding calling this content and drama and what have you, but like this would have been good content for her. And that seems to kind of be where her priority is with all of this, if we're being completely honest. Like, I just don't understand it. What a bad choice.
Keep in mind that we're both adults who have lives and jobs outside of Discord. Now, I can't speak for why Britt never followed up, only myself. I was, at this point in time, not only recovering from an illness that made me hallucinate and forget things, but also reliving my own personal trauma regarding the events of 2019. I had also suffered a breakdown shortly before this, and had been put on metazapine as a result of my general depression. I was stretched very thin, and would have liked a reminder. To that effect, Levi has asked me to add that he wanted to do just that, but couldn't because he was, at the time, incapacitated by his undiagnosed hypothyroidism. This is why Levi actually stopped editing my scripts for this period, only making an exception for scripts related.
This is just like a laundry list of excuses as to why you didn't get back to her, which is fine. You don't have to get back to her if that's okay, but don't act like surprised when she's pissed off that she waited this long to hear back from you, right? Like, yeah, life happens, like, shit comes up or whatever, and you can't always get back to people, that's fine. But don't, like, act surprised when they're pissed that you finally bang their line, like, a year later. No.
To the events of 2019. That's how bad his health was at the time. Considering both our health problems, it's honestly amazing how this channel is still running. Yet, regardless of whether you think those are good reasons, the fact remains. As much blame as I might have in dropping the ball and not following up, Brit holds just as much. Yeah, oh
my god. No, this is so weaselly. Like, this was your content. This was your content. This is what you wanted to do with your time. This is what the stuff that you wanted to make and the stuff that you wanted to publish. What? Why is it everybody else's responsibility but yours? Like, this doesn't have to be like this big bitch fest. Like, am I missing something? This doesn't have to be like a big bitch fest. Like, you just dropped the ball, you waited too long to get back to her, and by the time that you got back to her, she was like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. It doesn't have to be this bitch fest. What the fuck?
The only one being targeted, being lied about publicly. Thankfully, the evidence is very clear. I wasn't against speaking to Courtney at the time, I just wanted to make sure we did so in the correct way. Yet sadly, things never came together. That happens sometimes. I'm sure we've all meant to do something at one point or another, even something important, only for life to get in the way. Things don't always work out the way you
Well,
like
of course.
And
but
yet,
then why make it
despite
somebody
the
else's
second
problem?
speech
You're the one that did it.
conversation, they still kept their post up, asserting that I quote-unquote avoided them, attaching intent that was demonstrably not there, while simultaneously ignoring Brit's own role in failing to follow up. That's a known lie, and once again, it is a lie made all the worse in that they've shown us that they can fix things, meaning they chose not to. At that point, they made the active choice to mislead the wider Lily Orchard critical community, their fellow victims. Speaking of, this entire conversation was completely omitted by Courtney in their video, which brings us back around to them asserting the following.
The only reason Ethel reached out was to clear her name regarding my mix-up and insist that she didn't call it Lily Drama. After all this time of me trying to get into contact, this snake reaches out only when I embarrass her under her own video of clownery.
She can't actually argue this because that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Courtney was like calling her out, and then she finally reaches out after Courtney like made a big enough stink about it. That's exactly what happened. She's not gonna argue this, is she? Come on.
And only to clear her name. Did she have anything to say about my sister? No. Anything to say about my story? No. Anything about her lack of contact? Not until I brought it up.
This is not an accident. This is Courtney choosing to lie to the Lily Orchard critical community in full knowledge that this is a lie. This is their standard of engagement. This is what they feel comfortable doing, clearly believing that they'll get away with it. That, to me, speaks to a fundamentally dishonest approach with regards to what they tell people in relation to what they know, including their fellow victims. One last point I'd like to address regarding this post and the video is Courtney's complaint that I felt strong enough to call out Vangelina Skov, yet not strong enough to cover their story, as if the personal psychological burden of covering plagiarism is anywhere near that of child rape. I find this—
Okay, but you made— how many videos on fucking Lily Orchard have you made? You're willing to incur the psychic damage of covering this stuff when it benefits you. That's like the whole criticism, right? Is that you're willing to sit down and make, you know, piece after piece after piece on Lily Orchard, but then when you have the ability to actually do something about it, it's too much. It's too cumbersome. What?
This argument incredibly ironic, considering how Skov accused me of conflating plagiarism and child rape when I never did. Yet that is exactly what Courtney is doing when they complain about me having the mental fortitude to tackle the former, yet not the latter. To make matters worse, I cover this exact point in my video about Skov's plagiarism, only I discuss genocide instead of child rape. I get that I might not see—
Oh my god. Please. I'm screaming. I'm screaming. You guys, I can excuse genocide, but I draw the line at child rape. It's like, what is this? What is this?
Most impacted in this video. I'm probably cracking a few more jokes than usual, but that's not because it isn't bad, it's because I'm used to tackling people who want me dead because I'm trans. So this is still an improvement, but better than genocide isn't what I consider high praise. I also mentioned that I'd just taken a 2-month break to recover from the previous video due to how personally traumatic it was. So yeah, I felt like I could tackle some plagiarism. All of that gets ignored because context be damned. If it doesn't make me look like an evil monster, it can be ignored, or better yet, lied about. The last place— It's
more like the criticism is more so that you're willing to take the time to be psychically damaged to cover like some lame ass fucking I was plagiarized in my video because somebody used a screenshot that I used. Like, cry me a river for starters. But like when you have the opportunity to do something that matters, you choose not to do it. That is, and like, what is the psychic damage that Ethel would endure by putting Courtney in contact with the person that supposedly was abused? Right? Like, what is the psychic damage that would happen there just by like just passing along a contact? And again, if you really care about this, if this is something that you care deeply about, and I would imagine that, and I'm going to take a really big like leap of faith here, that Ethel actually does care about victims of like CSA and shit like that. If you really care, why wouldn't you do like literally the bare minimum? Like, sure, you might incur psychic damage or what have you. I can consider, okay, sure, you might incur psychic damage. But like, what about the psychic damage of the person that's like being fucking abused right now that you could help? You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. It just seems, it seems like not the move. Again, I don't think that this is hitting the way that we want it to hit. Unfortunately, I don't know. Firstly, a critical error going after Courtney Orchard for anything. Courtney, love you. You're fucking insane. Okay, you don't want to cross those wires. Okay, but also, like, again, this is the victim. This is the victim. Okay, why would you go nuclear on the victim? What are you doing? Hello?
I want to tackle before we get into some of the fuzzier stuff is one that both Britt and Courtney have made, and that's this idea that we did our Lily Orchard series for the money, that I'm a quote-unquote grifter who is using quote abuse survivors for money, end quote, as Britt put it in a post, or as Courtney put in their video.
I told you in the DMs, and I will tell you now. Actions speak louder than words, and yours, or lack thereof, have been deafening.
True.
I am the captain now. Your time white knighting for victims of my sister for cash money is over. Get your greedy, money-hungry snake ass back in the swamp where you belong.
First of all money made from our testimony videos and the videos covering specific victims, such as Inkros, was publicly donated to the Strong Hearts Native Helpline. We didn't take a single penny of it for ourselves. We only monetized the testimony videos to give YouTube a reason to promote them, to increase their reach, to warn as many people as possible. What's really shocking about Courtney's admission of this fact is that the most recent video showing the donation for the previous year's earnings was published on the 23rd of March. Courtney's video, meanwhile, went out on the 5th of April. So this wasn't buried and forgotten knowledge. They chose to admit said fact since it throws a monkey.
Okay, again, we're kind of like sidestepping the criticism here. I think it's really interesting. I think if you watch people long enough, you can kind of pick up on all these like weaselly little tactics that people like to do. And this is like a really good, like, this is like a good media savvy technique, is when somebody offers a direct criticism, if you can sidestep it and kind of like virtue signal towards something good that you did, people will kind of forget about the shitty thing that you're actually being criticized for. So the criticism very clearly is that this is a grift, that you don't actually care about the victims of Lily Orchard. You're just in it for clout, you're just in it for money, you're just in it, you're in it for the LOLs essentially, right? And the criticism stands because she has the opportunity to do something real instead of just make a fucking YouTube about it. She has the opportunity to actually have Lily face a consequence legally, okay? And so that is the criticism. It's that here is this thing that you can do. If you care so much about this, like you claim to do, and it's not just smoke and fucking mirrors, do this thing, and it will show that you actually give a fuck about this. And so that statement is the criticism. Within the criticism, she picks very clearly the money aspect, and that's what she addresses, because she wants to sidestep the criticism that there is an opportunity for her to actually do something real. She's avoiding that criticism and falling back on like, but look at all the good that I did. I raised the money. It's not about the money, see? While we casually forget that the real criticism here is that you have the opportunity to do something real and you're choosing not to. That is the criticism. It's very interesting to watch people do this in real time.
Wrench in their spun narrative. I really didn't want to have to do an editor's patch here, but a source has just alerted me to the fact that someone has gone on to accuse me of pocketing the money, thanks in part to Courtney's lies. Here, I'll let the asshole speak for themselves.
According to Ethel, the money generated from this series outside of Patreon was supposed to go to charity, not put food into their clearly starving mouths.
If you appreciate what we do here on the channel, do know you can support us via Patreon. While this video is being monetized, this is solely to boost its position in the algorithm, since it's important that this information gets out there. Any AdSense money the video makes will be donated to a charity related to the topic, so Patreon remains our only source of income, allowing us to keep the channel running.
So is that just for that particular video? Because it stands to reason if it's so important for that first video, the rest of the videos in the series should hold the same weight. Why is it important to donate to charity for just that first video if it's important that the information gets out there, and that's the only reason to monetize it to begin with? Couldn't you argue that Vangelina did a service to the topic by bringing bring renewed attention to it, making people curious enough to go look up more information? Or is
True.
it all about making sure people only see Ethel's videos on the topic to give money to the charity? Oh, wait, to put in their pockets?
Very
Motives are
true.
all over the place here. I get the feeling Ethel realized just how lucrative this expose is.
Very true. It is so fucking, like, superficial to me. If you genuinely fucking care about this topic and you genuinely want people to, like, know and be wary if they enter, like, a space with Lily Orchard that she does, like, all this fuck shit or whatever, if you genuinely care about that, it shouldn't matter if people are taking, like, a screenshot from your fucking video. They're shedding light on it. They're, like, letting people know, right? Like, they're calling attention to it. That should be enough. Like, if you actually give a fuck about it. Oh, this is so annoying, dude.
Story on Lily Orchard was, and that's why there were so many videos made. Frankly, that's a common consensus amongst the community, including arguably the biggest victim of Lily Orchard, who was essentially shunned by Ethel, Lily Orchard's sister, Courtney, who had to experience horrific things at the hands of her own sibling.
So, Jade is very open about the fact that Courtney's lies are the source of their own accusations against us, the assertion that I was doing this for profit and pocketed the money, an accusation they make with absolutely no evidence. And they do this in spite of the fact that, as already mentioned, the money made from the victim testimonies was publicly donated. I not only showed me sending off the money in both videos, but I went through the analytics of each testimony video to show just how much they'd made before adding them up. This was public information offered freely. All Jade had to do was show the slightest critical thought. Speaking of stuff they could have found out with some basic research, the reason the AdSense for Glade and Mackenzie's testimony videos, as well as the Inquiry's video, were given away, yet the others weren't, is very simple. We don't feel comfortable profiteering off of the experiences of abuse survivors, a fact that was explained in detail in our first donation video way back in February of 2023, specifically in the chapter titled, Why Donate the Money? It really couldn't have been made any clearer. This doesn't apply to the videos regarding Stockholm and Doomsday Ascending, as well as the video debunking Lily Orchard's pro-child predator arguments, since they're not reliant on the personal testimony of a victim. Nobody else read Stockholm for myself and Levi, nobody else discovered the true horror of Doomsday Ascending, and nobody else compiled our rapid-fire takedown of Lily Orchard's defenses. That was all us, therefore it didn't feel exploitative to monetize said videos which Scorp subsequently stole from, hence the remark.
Again, we're... Oh my god. Anybody that's paying attention can see that you just want to be like the authority. Anybody who is listening, anybody that has ears, anybody that isn't, like, 10 feet underwater right now, can hear very clearly that the whole intent of this is that you want to be the one that has, like, the monopoly on the content. And that's fine. If you want to be that person, that's okay. But don't, like, pretend otherwise, right? Like, there's nothing more annoying than people that aren't willing to just, like, own what they're doing. Like, just admit that you were in it for the money and the clout, and that you want to be the authority on the topic. And that's totally fine. Like, but kind of like feigning like, no, but I'm doing so much good, you guys. I'm changing the world with my Lily Orchard videos on youtube.com. It's like, just fucking bite it. Because that's what you're doing. You're acting like you are, like, the authority on all of this. And again, I will call back to my original criticism here, is that if anybody is an authority on this, I would argue that it's Courtney. Like, this is her life. Like, this was her life, you guys. Like, holy fuck. Like, the least that you could do is to take into consideration her perspective, or, like, talk to her, or, like, I don't fucking know. Like, there were a million options that we could have taken here, but instead we kind of dug our heels in and we were like, no, I am the Lily Storian, and no one else will take money from me. Is like, it just is, even if it's not about the money, okay? If she did donate the money, that's great. Good job donating the money. But again, that's not the criticism. The criticism is that you have the ability to connect Courtney with somebody who can actually do something, and you're choosing not to because what? Like, what is the justification for you not connecting Courtney to this person to get her in trouble? What is it?
Fact is, nobody forced us to donate the money from any of the videos. We chose to do so because of our own ethics. But us doing so is now being presented as proof that we wanted all the money and we're just exploiting survivors to get it. Somehow. I guess Jade is operating on the premise that no good deed should go unpunished. Though again, all of this information is out there. Jade just needed to put some actual effort into their content and, fact check people's assertions. What's the saying? If someone says it's raining and another person says it's dry, it's not your job to quote them both. It's your job to look out the window and find out which is true. As for Scorp getting the word out, their video contains no misinformation whilst simultaneously dehumanizing Lily Orchard's victims, especially Glade, who was stripped of both his name and voice, facts that were raised in our original video, yet Jade conveniently omitted. Here, let me show you the section in question, a section, I must note, that Glade himself requested I add during the writing of said video, only for me to let him know that I was way ahead of him. But perhaps more important than the plagiarism, Scow is dehumanizing Glade, Lily Orchard's victim, in this instance. By refusing to give Glade a name or reference his actual testimony, Scow is effectively stripping him of his humanity and voice. Glade is no longer a person who has shared their testimony in Scow's video, but a nameless case, a file, an object to be passed around. That's it.
This is... like, I don't know, dude. We're just nitpicking this shit to death. We're just nitpicking this shit to death. It's like, sometimes people just, like, omit stuff like that because this is, like, a really fucking crazy topic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why we should assign malice to this person just kind of, like, mentioning it in passing. I don't know if that is indicative of malice. It might just be like a sensitivity to the topic. I don't. Oh god.
That's how she treats the victims of the person she's pretending to expose. Scow is just exploiting Glade in a different way to Lily Orchard, but that doesn't make it right. Yet, to add insult to injury, Scow has the fucking gall to say the following.
These are very, very serious accusations. Obviously, it's very, very important to listen to the people who say these things have happened to them.
Oh, you think it's important to listen to Lily Orchard's victims? Well, how the fuck are people meant to do just that when you quite literally refuse to name or source them? Tell me, how—
This just seems like it. I don't know why we're going fucking nuclear on this one, dude. Jesus Christ. It just reads to me like all they're doing is just like, it's like a courtesy. You know, like they're just like, oh, I'm just not going to name drop because I don't know if this person wants to be included or not. Like, why are we fucking, what?
How the fuck they can listen?
Chill.
I'd argue that any merit Scott's video might have had in getting the word out was lost the moment they chose to dehumanize Lily Orchard's victims. And you know what? I think that at least a small part of Jade agrees. I think that's why they cut said section out of their video, seemingly realizing that they can't defend it, and by extension Skov, without revealing themselves to be the monster they are. Oddly enough, they still play my summary where I called back to said dehumanization, mocking it by playing music over the top. And yeah, the more I think about it, how I was ripped off, how Glade was dehumanized, and just what a lazy-ass job Scout did with all that she stole, the angrier I get. Jade is knowingly supporting the dehumanization of Lily Orchard's victims, going so far as to openly mock me for feeling angry about said dehumanization, yet they think they have grounds to judge me. It'd be funny, were it not so vile. Anyway, back to Courtney's assertions that we're exploiting Lily Orchard's victims for profit. Second, this accusation completely contradicts their earlier accusation that we were avoiding them, as this, by extension, would mean avoiding covering their or Brit's testimonies. Let's stop to think about it. Were I actually the money-grubbing bitch they're pretending I am, I wouldn't be failing to follow up, I certainly wouldn't be avoiding them, I would be hounding them to cry their tears out on camera to sell trauma porn. I would be aggressively monetizing as many testimonies as I could gather, and keeping the money for my—
Yeah, but that would require that you have to share your platform with somebody other than you. And we know we're not too fond of that. I just, like, the whole point is, again, the criticism is going to be, like, do you actually give a fuck about this or not? Because if you actually give a fuck, here's an opportunity for you to do something, right?
myself. I would be running titles like Former Friend Speaks Out About Lily Orchard's Abuse, or Lily Orchard's Sibling Speaks Out About Child Rape. Titles that drive views on the channel to heights never before seen. But I haven't, because that is not, will not, and has never been our goal. Everything we do, everything Courtney and Britt has said about not sharing their testimonies, contradicts their own constructed narrative. We are, in fact, doing the very last thing a money-hungry channel would be doing. The real reason I haven't been able to produce more videos is that I'm tired. I'm tired of the topic as a CSA survivor, made to trawl through hundreds of pages of abuse materials. I'm tired of how people like Patch and Ephraim have been allowed to promote rape apologetics in a community ostensibly meant to support survivors. And I'm tired of how I, Levi, and Glade have been mistreated at almost every point. So this entire thing is just another lie. We've given away all the money made from the testimony videos, we're not aggressively hunting down the next big story. The only thing anyone can actually point to is the fact that I didn't like someone stealing years of our work for themselves. That means Courtney lied about—
Again, if this is important work, you would want as many people as possible talking about it. And the hard work that Vangelina, like, quote-unquote, stole was literally a fucking screenshot, dude. What?
the screenshots, even after they'd admitted they'd remembered wrong. They lied about me labeling Lily Orchard's abuse of her victims as quote-unquote Lily drama. They lied about me avoiding them. They lied about me not mentioning the lack of communication in conversation until they brought it up. And they lied about us covering Lily Orchard for money. Oh, they also lied about us stealing our evidence, as discussed in the previous video. That's 6 distinct lies. Lies promoted by Courtney in a deliberate attempt to mislead the greater Lily Orchard critical community. What's astounding is, they're such easily debunked lies, yet Courtney still felt secure enough to make them.
Like, I just am seeing a lot of gesturing and a lot of posturing about lies and this, that, and the other thing, but it's like, when are you gonna tackle the meat of the criticism, you know? Like, you can say, you can feel like she lied here, you can, you know, say that she misrepresented this, blah, blah, blah. Like, when are we gonna actually address the criticism here?
Not sparing a single thought as to how doing so would completely wreck their credibility the moment someone brought evidence to the table. Then they came after me, repeatedly, someone who has never made an accusation without evidence to boot. How the fuck did they think this was going to go down? I'm just sorry for—
We're just, ooh, you guys, we're not... This is the person that you should be turning to, not the person you should be turning against. No, you are my brother, Anakin.
Lily Orchard's other victims, as it's going to take them years to recover from the damage Courtney has done. All because Courtney seemed to enjoy the thrill they got from taking shots at me, knowing I'd hold off from saying something publicly for as long as possible for the good of the community. But they pushed too far, and now they're going to have to pay the ferryman to carry their credibility across the river Styx. With the clear lies dealt with, I'd just like to take some time to tackle general misinformation, starting with why we didn't cover Lily's alt and porn accounts.
I know the information she had access to. I know what she cherry-picked over. I know what she left out. It speaks volumes that you didn't include the terror logs, the EO3 accounts, or the reality of Stockholm.
First of all, Courtney doesn't know what information we had access
Okay,
to.
I don't need any of this.
By
Let's
the
go
way,
here.
is why I fundamentally reject a legalist argument and position. Laws are as flawed as the people who make them, and if you're treating said laws as an authority, you have no place in this conversation.
What?
As for why we didn't try to coordinate with Canadian police, there are a number of reasons.
Okay.
For a start, there's the legal and cultural difference, a fact Courtney themselves touched on in their video in how they boasted about being in the same province as Lily Orchard.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm a British person living in India. I don't know all the caveats to Canadian law. I don't even know if they have a two-tier system like the US, or if it's more like our system in the UK, meaning it'd be held to traverse that, not to mention the inherent difficulties of coordinating between continents.
Okay, but you don't have to coordinate between continents. You just have to tell Courtney who the person is. Like, Courtney will do that. Like, that's the whole point, is that Courtney's there, so she knows the law. What?
The reason is because the police are a part of rape and abuse culture.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? I'm sorry, guys. The reason that I didn't give the screenshots of Courtney Orchard literally sexing a minor to somebody who could actually do something about it is because the police are bad guys. Is this really? Oh my god.
According to what Saturday morning cartoons lead many to believe, the police are not your friends. They do not exist to serve and protect the people, only the powerful, and that includes rapists and abusers. That's why...
Okay, totally. They're gonna be like Lily Orchard, the brony YouTuber. You're right, you guys. We can't go after her. Like, what? No.
In places such as the US, as much as 40% of families containing police officers experience domestic violence, compared to just 10% of the general population.
We're really doing ACAB. That's what we're doing, guys. We're like, I couldn't give her the information because ACAB. We're really doing this. Oh my fucking god.
The other 60%, yeah, they're the ones covering for the 40%. All cops are bastards, and no, this problem doesn't magically vanish the moment you cross the border. Thing is, Courtney knows this. I know they know this because they said such in a post they made just before they published their video. Whilst responding to the hypothetical, so why haven't you had Lily Orchard charged, Courtney replied with the following, quote, because the cops don't fucking pay attention until there's a dead body, end quote. So let's get this
Okay, in this hypothetical, the dead body would be literal screenshots of her fucking sexting a minor. Hello? Hello? This is so... Oh my god. Who did I get into an argument with this about the other day? It was fucking Karl Marx. It always comes back to Karl Marx, you guys. Always. Somebody had posted a video of this guy, like, sexually harassing them, like, physically harassing them. Like, apparently it's a video of this guy, like, slapping some girl's ass. And she has it on video. And she posts it, and she's like, oh my god, help, like, this guy just slapped my ass. And people were like, why don't you go to the cops? And everybody was like, the cops don't do anything ever, you guys. The cops are completely fucking useless. Cops are dumb. Cops perpetuate rape culture. And it's like, you have it on video, bro. The reason that, like, rape culture is difficult to navigate, like, with the criminal justice system, is a lack of physical evidence. So, if I am assaulted, okay, I am sexually assaulted, and I wait, like, a week to go to the cops to report it, there's no more physical evidence, okay? There's no more physical evidence. It becomes like a he said, she said, and that's why it, like, dies in that process. If I have a video of somebody fucking assaulting me, they're gonna do something about it, okay? It's recorded. There's literal physical evidence. So something is going to come of it. Okay, that was the criticism. If there is a screenshot of Lily Orchard sexting with a minor that exists, if the minor has these logs still, it's not about the rape culture. It's not about ACAB. It's not about the cops. If there is a log of it, they will do something about it. Hello? What? Oh my god. Sorry, you guys. I couldn't help the child sexual assault survivor because ACAB. What the fuck, dude? Oh my god. I'm glad I decided to watch all this. I was thinking about not watching. Oh my god, Ethel. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Great. When defending their lack of results, the police being a part of rape culture absolves them. Yet, when accusing us of not working alongside police, suddenly they're a noble and upstanding force that are just a single phone call away from seizing Lily Orchard's hard drive. Isn't it interesting how Courtney's perspective on the police changes from moment to moment, always depending on whatever gets them off the hook, and makes me look like a callous monster? The reality is, not only would it be difficult to coordinate across continents, but the police almost certainly wouldn't care. As someone who has...
The police wouldn't care that there was somebody who was sexting a minor. Also, Ethel, square this circle for me, okay? Everybody in chat, put on your big brain hats for me. Square this circle. We're in the middle of a trans genocide right now, okay? They're loading up the trucks right now. We're toast. It's over. We're going. We're gone, okay? Do you not think in the epidemic of trans people being universally hated and scorned and being labeled as groomers and rapists and pedophiles by virtue of existing of a trans person, do you not think the cops would jump for joy if there was a screenshot of a trans woman sexting a minor? Hello? Square this circle for me. Square this circle for me. Courtney casually implying that you're running defense for, you know, Lily Orchard because you want the fucking drama content. That is a direct call to action and trans misogyny. But the cops wouldn't care at all if there was a trans woman who was caught sexting a minor. Make that make sense. Anybody connect those dots for me. It can't be one or the other, right? It has to be both. It can't be one or the other.
Reported their own sexual predator to both the US and UK police. With evidence, I know this fact intimately. This would therefore make such efforts a time sink, taking resources away from research, publishing, and background care for Lily Orchard's victims. Just ask yourself the following question. Would you rather we wasted a chunk of time and effort trying to get the police to act, meaning we never got around to making, say, our Stockholm or Doomsday Ascending videos, warning people, or would you rather we did what we did and get as many videos out as possible?
Would you rather get the cops involved and get this person arrested, or do you guys want my YouTube videos? What do you want? What do you want? Do you want my YouTube videos, or do you want justice? Did she edit this video herself? Or did somebody edit this video for her? Because why would you ever say that out loud? Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Would you guys rather me spend my time and energy making my cute little YouTube videos for you? Or do you want justice? Checkmate, liberal. This is a joke. This is a joke. You're kidding.
That was the position we were in, and we made the decision to concentrate on what we knew we could do.
We chose to make the decision to make our silly little YouTube videos while children were out here getting exploited and raped. This can't be real.
The benefit of this decision is that it would then allow anyone on the ground, such as Courtney, to take things up with the police if they wanted to. The fact that Courtney has had no success tells me that we made the right call. Though again, this is not a blatant lie, but rather a double standard, hence it didn't feel right to include it in the previous section, but I still wanted to point it out. Of course, it wasn't just what Lily Orchard had posted that could potentially bring her to justice. There are also her many victims and their testimonies. But before we address Courtney's grievances regarding access to said victims, I just need to share with you something Adita did as part of her work last year. Our story begins when Adita was hired to be part of a team tasked by an international organisation in collaboration with the Indian government to review and update training resources related to domestic violence. Adita's main job was to be an interviewer, someone trusted to lead a film crew across India, gathering testimonies that would be used to better design said training and source funding. We're just
gonna move right on. We're not gonna address. Okay.
Before they were even in the field, Adita was making an impact. At a film training session attended by staff and volunteers, many of whom were survivors themselves, one woman began sharing her own story organically, only to start breaking down, crying, at which point the cameraman filming the event ran across the room to focus down on her. Adita immediately stepped up and shut the filming crew down, leading her peers to speak out in agreement. The filming crew was removed from the room whilst the woman received support, only being let back in after things had settled. Later that day, the filming crew asked why Adita did what she did. They argued that emotions move potential investors, and isn't that why they're here, to secure that funding? In her response, Adita explained that she did what she did to defend the survivor's autonomy. All abuse, ultimately, comes down to a violation of autonomy, a violation of consent. If it's consensual, it's not abuse, it's BDSM, roleplay, or medicine. That woman had not agreed to share her trauma, her heartbreak. So when the cameraman charged her before anyone could ask if she was okay, he was taking from her without her consent. He was, in effect, re-victimizing her. By kicking the filming crew out, Adita took that autonomy back for the woman. This is something she had to do repeatedly throughout the project, all to ensure that the women whose testimonies they gathered knew that the crew was there at their discretion.
Okay, what does this have to do with anything?
This is an essential part of the healing process, and Adita would not compromise the victim's well-being to create what is, for a lack of a better term, trauma porn. That is a standard I hope to live up to on this channel. I hope to be the natural advocate Adita is in all my workings alongside victims. Which brings us back to Courtney and the anger towards me in standing with the decisions made by both Glade and Mackenzie, with both victims being open with me that they didn't want to or couldn't go to the police for various reasons.
Okay, pause. That's fine. If somebody doesn't want to go to the cops, that's fine. Okay, that's kind of like their thing to deal with. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the existence of somebody right now who was victimized, like, somewhat in recent history. No. And that if this person, like, has the screenshots, something can be done. But ACAB? This is... This is something.
She also refused to get me into contact with the minor that Lily sexted. The minor she touted in her boring-ass video that she was in contact with. With screenshots of Lily sexting a minor, I can actually go to the cops and do something. Ethel doesn't care. She cares more about a decision made over a year ago without the avenue of me, who lives in the same province and can actually go to the cops, with little involvement of the minor in question.
Okay.
Ethel doesn't care. She cares more about what she is able to do.
Okay.
Keep a victim for clout and virtue signaling, as well as cutting that victim off from an avenue of justice that they may want now. That victim should have the opportunity to make the decision themselves today with the new information available instead of what was supposedly said to you 2 years ago.
First things first, I don't recall touting that I had contact with Mackenzie. You know, the victim whose name Courtney can't even be bothered to learn/use. I meant—
Okay. If this is a minor, yeah, you probably should, like, leave their name out of the fucking video. If this is a minor, if this was, oh my god, if this was a minor, yeah, I personally would probably leave their name out of the video too. I don't... You guys, can somebody please help me? What the fuck is happening right now?
I'd asked Mackenzie whether Luke would be okay with me covering Luke testimony, which Luke enthusiastically said yes to, but that's just basic protocol. That's not touting, that's being transparent with how I came to ethically source the testimony, as opposed to, you know...
Ethically source the testimony. If... this is actually really irritating because this is all just smoke and mirrors. Like, about ethically sourcing the testimony. Bro, you could literally do something about this. You could literally help this person. And you're choosing not to. For what? To virtue signal? What the fuck?
Oh, just stealing it? I mean, what kind of sick person would just steal someone's testimony? Thing is, said access to Mackenzie was via open messages on Twitter, meaning Courtney had the exact same access I did. Now, since then, Luke appears to have moved on, but the fact remains, Courtney could have reached out to Luke in the exact same way I did. After all, I linked Luke's original testimony in our videos, as always. The only thing that was holding Courtney back was himself. Though, honestly, from the way they're acting in this section, I'm kinda glad, and we'll get into further detail about why in a minute. As for Glade, Courtney would have been able to talk to him.
Okay, I'm confused. Was all of this public then? Was this all, like, public and Courtney could have just messaged this person on Twitter? Did she not just show a screenshot that this person's Twitter was nuked? So if Ethel had, like, private contact with them, that would have been the only way that Courtney could have reached them, no? Am I missing something?
Directly had Britt got back to me and they'd been added to the server. That said, Glade was explicitly clear from the moment that Britt mentioned Courtney was looking to work alongside police that he would not be able to be involved for his personal safety. Reasons I cannot share publicly, because doing so would constitute doxing. Yet, Courtney knows this. Not only am I certain that Britt told them at the time...
Okay, but, okay, does she think that Courtney is gonna, like, dox this person? Because I don't know if, like, what's not connecting here. Like, Courtney isn't, like, a content creator. Like, Courtney wants to talk to these people so she can do something, like, legally, like, offline, like, in real life. I'm so lost on what is she trying to do here other than just, like, destroy her own credibility and, like, make herself look like shit? Like, what is she doing?
But I gave Courtney screenshots of the conversation. But none of that seems to matter. Me standing with the safety of Lily Orchard's victims, not to forget their explicit wishes, is presented as me gatekeeping them for clout. And it's this disproportionate hostility towards being told no, this anger towards me for doing my best to protect Lily Orchard's victims.
No, she's gonna say she can't take no for an answer. No!
Not to mention Courtney's complete and constant disregard for said victims as human beings with their own names, pronouns, and autonomy. That is one of the biggest red flags I have ever seen on YouTube. These are not the actions of someone looking to give Lily Orchard's victims a choice. These are the actions of someone looking to bully said victims into falling in line, into doing what
Oh my god, bro. Are you serious? Oh, come on. I don't even know what to say. This is just like... Why is she so eager to just, like, blow up her own image in all of this? Like, what? This is nuts, dude.
The cameraman in Adita's story, Courtney has every intention of re-victimizing Lily Orchard's victims to take what they want, no matter the harm it causes said victim.
No! How can you be this, like... I'm gonna debate, bro. How can you be this bad faith? What she wants to do is say, like, hey, there's legal recourse for this. And you're the person that's standing in the way of that. For what? Your ego? Seriously? Like, this is so nauseating to listen to. It's just like all fucking virtue signaling. re-traumatizing the victim. You mean saying like, hey, like something can actually be done about this? Instead of just making YouTube videos about this? After let's not forget that less than 10 minutes ago, she was like, I chose to put my energy into making a fucking YouTube video instead of pursuing like legal consequences for this. Oh my god.
Though the complaints continue, with Courtney lashing out at something I stated in our conversation, namely that our videos hadn't gone anywhere.
When I said that she could have gotten me the means to have Lily charged, she pushed back that she's protecting the victim. I pushed that she went after an additional avenue to get word out about my sister. She touted that her videos are still out there. Her videos. That are over a year old, impossible to sit through without a 5-hour energy and 3 lines of cocaine, and simply not good enough.
This is all
to put
true.
This in context, I was responding to Courtney downplaying the importance of our work, and with it, both the testimonies and evidence contained within.
Your work doesn't mean jack shit if you have the opportunity to do something good with it and you choose not to. For literally no apparent reason other than ACAB. Yeah, your work doesn't mean fucking anything. Your work is making YouTube hit pieces. You have the ability to fucking do something, and you're choosing not to for no fucking reason. This is painful.
Accused us of doing nothing. I simply stated that our videos were still out there, warning people, protecting them. That is something. In the absence of justice, awareness is the next best thing. That's the principle the entire Me Too movement.
It doesn't have to be absent of justice, though, is the whole point. It's not absent of justice. That is an avenue of approach that can actually fucking happen. Hello?
Movement was built around. If the justice system serves rapists, as it does, we the people can at least make others aware of who is a predator so that people can avoid them. This wasn't an egotistical declaration presenting us as the final word, it was a simple statement of fact. People are still listening to the testimonies, looking at the evidence, and learning to avoid Lily Orchard as a result. Just because we were—
They won't have to avoid her if she's in fucking jail, dog! No one will have to— she'll be in fucking jail! What?!
Used to fall in line and do whatever Courtney demands, doesn't negate that fact. The same goes for the age of the videos. Nowhere does Courtney explain why the videos being over a year old in any way devalues their content. This is just thrown out there as if it's some sort of gotcha.
She's saying that it's because the mill is dead, so there's nothing left to be gained other than helping the people that are still involved. I thought that Ethel was supposed to be smart. I thought that she was smarter than this. Critical error on my part, holy fuck.
Argue all they've really done is devalue the victim testimonies as a means of attacking me. In the absence of an explanation, the only reason anyone would take issue with the videos being over a year old is because people like Courtney complain about them being over a year old, making this a form of circular reasoning. I, on the other hand, hold that the video's value remains constant until and unless it's proven to be incorrect. Since that has not happened, I'd argue their value is the same today as the day they were published. I reject this assumption that new is better simply because it's new. Furthermore,
it's not about it being new. It's about new information and your ability to help someone who's being abused. Like, I feel like I have to, like, get down on my hands and knees and, like, explain this like I'm talking to, like, a fucking infant. Like, Ethel, honey, you have the ability to make it so she doesn't hurt anybody anymore. And you can stop it all, but you don't want to. And that's what people are mad about. They're not mad about your coverage. It's like, does she need to be gentle parented? Is that what we need to be doing right now? Like, what about this do you not fucking understand?
I think our criticisms of Squad's video, how they promoted known misinformation and dehumanized Lily Orchard's victims, specifically Glade, facts nobody has even attempted to address to this very day, seemingly because they're so damning, goes to show that. Yet all this touches on something else you've probably picked up on, particularly in the last couple of clips, and that's just how much Courtney attacks our videos, not on their factual merit or supposed lack thereof, but for delivery and presentation. Starting with the delivery, Courtney claims that
I don't watch her content. It's boring and her dictation could rival the most ancient of Harvard professors.
Okay, she's calling you boring. Are we really gonna stop to complain about this? Are we really gonna stop to complain about
I
this?
speak the way I do in equal parts because of how my autism presents itself and because my mum, my primary caregiver growing up, is a non-native English speaker.
Oh my god, bro, please. Just take it on the chin. She thinks your content's boring. No, we don't need an expose. No.
So when Courtney singles us out and mocks me for it, they are—
So when Courtney singles me out and says that she thinks that I'm boring and she doesn't like my content, she's not allowed to do that because that's ableism. That's where we're going. I'm calling it now.
effectively resorting to a cocktail of ableism and xenophobia as—
What did I just fucking say, you guys? I did not pre-watch this. I did not fucking pre-watch this. God, I'm fucking good. Hell yeah, dude. Let's go. Holy shit.
part of a personal attack. This is just straight up bigotry being presented as righteous fury. To be clear, this does not mean you have to like the way I speak. You can absolutely find it grating or boring, but a reasonable non-bigoted person would just shrug and move on to one of the other people who has covered the same topic. Indeed, that seems to be the way most people reacted, with not a single video in our series having an approval rating below 95%. Of course, Courtney can't do that because they have rejected reason as part of a desperate bid to present everything about me, including the way I speak, as some sort of moral transgression. They act as if finding my...
She's not. She's, like, again, I told you, when people like Queen Courtney, when God Queen Courtney is blessing the ooh-woo small beans with her presence, they have no idea what to do with her. Like, Courtney's just talking shit. She's just kind of rolling around in the mud. She's taking shots. She's having fun with it. Like, it's really not that deep. She's just saying she doesn't like your content because she thinks it's boring. And then she thinks that this is actually like a condemnation, that she's trying to make a condemnation of her fucking character. Like, Courtney is so OP, you guys. Courtney is so fucking OP because nobody knows what to say to her. Everybody's like, what do you, like, the reason that I talk like this is because of my autism. And she's like, okay, well, it's boring as fuck. And they're like, ableism? It's so funny to watch. It's so funny. Like, they don't know what to do with her. Courtney is so OP, you guys. She has to be nerfed. They don't know what to do with her.
And a speech boring somehow validates their hostility towards me, possibly because they realize they have no actual reason for the way they feel.
No, Ethel, no, she was joking.
All the videos themselves as being boring, with Courtney going as far as to explicitly target the victim testimony videos, as seen here.
She also refused to get me into contact with the minor that Lily sexted. The minor she touted in her boring-ass video that she was in contact with.
Again, I stress the fact that it is Courtney themselves who has gone on record explicitly degrading our victim testimony videos as quote-unquote boring. What Courtney is effectively attacking me for here is refusing to make testimony videos, videos which share the horrific ways...
We're really getting stunt-locked on this, dude. Oh my god. She just doesn't like your content. That's all it is. Like, if we did...
Lily Orchard groomed and then violated her audience, exciting for the viewer.
Is this British culture?
Deserve to be heard in a respectful manner, but as sources of entertainment, toys for them to play around with and break. Courtney doesn't want testimony.
What? Oh, and wait. No, wait, did she just...
Toys for them to play around with and break.
Okay.
Courtney doesn't want testimonies. They want trauma porn, just like the cameraman and his crew. The only...
She doesn't want drama porn. She wants results. She wants you to do something when you have the ability to do something that's not trauma porn. She's making public callouts because you haven't done anything up until this point.
The difference is, unlike the cameraman, the room isn't standing up to Courtney, calling out the harm they are doing. And I do mean harm.
She's not doing... She didn't name drop anybody. She's not doing any harm. All she's saying is, like, you have access to this person who can actually get shit done, and you're choosing to not let anybody talk to this person because they're like your, you know, like special, like, victim that only you get to talk to, apparently. Like, that's what she's... I don't know how you can interpret this any other way. Honest to God, this is crazy.
For whilst Courtney seems to think that deliberately spreading crap about our videos, including our testimony videos, is all fun and games...
Ethel did some basic coverage of my sister a year or two ago. Well, basic is being
Oh
generous.
no, she's gonna get mad about this too.
To involve herself and make herself a victim to cry and whine. Am I being facetious? Yes. Do I care? No, not really. Not at all.
I don't. I think the demonstrable lies they're spreading about us and our series will cause real harm to the people who haven't trusted us with their testimonies, not to mention damn...
What is with... Oh, what harm? Hang on, what harm? What harm? Hang on.
Of the videos to raise awareness.
Explain.
That is, in fact, the main reason we're doing this. Because whilst I've been sitting on the fence about whether I should just put up with Courtney's bullshit, that wouldn't address the harm Courtney is doing to Lily Orchard's victims in the process. If not for me, I still owe it to them and the wider Lily Orchard critical community to expose Courtney for what they are. A depraved liar on a power trip. For as much as...
You're literally gonna do this. Oh no. Ethel, you're outclassed in every conceivable way. No. She's gonna eat you alive, dude. Oh my god.
I've been chastised for apparently making it harder for creators to cover Lily Orchard by calling out clear and blatant plagiarism. I'd argue the real danger...
The clear and blatant plagiarism, bro, it was a screenshot. It was a fucking screenshot. No.
Here is Courtney's gross negligence and rampant disregard for the rest of Lily Orchard's victims. How Courtney's clear desire to bully others into doing what they want...
She is Lily Orchard's victim, hello?
...economy will almost certainly have a chilling effect on Lily Orchard's victims. Because there are more out there, waiting, growing to the point in which they are strong enough to speak out. Sadly, I fear Courtney's behaviour in the Lily Orchard critical community these past few months will scare many into remaining silent. Though it's not just the way Courtney treats Lily
This is
victims,
crazy. Oh my god.
It's also the way they treat me, all the things they say between the lies. Starting, of course, with this section regarding my abuser, Rachel Oates.
Ethel dropped off the face of the earth in terms of covering my sister a year ago. She got her coin and moved on to her beef with Rachel Oates. What is her beef with Rachel Oates? Not a goddamn clue, and I don't care in the slightest. All I know is overkill tends to imply the feelings are personal, and the way she beats that dead horse within an unrecognizable inch of its bone structure tells me that beef is personal. I don't care about algorithm about Ethel.
Again, I began working on other projects to give Brit time to write their testimony, they never got back to me, and I had nothing else to really say, save for one video, which I'll mention towards the end. But stepping back to look at the bigger picture, what's being said here, Courtney is effectively declaring that the Lily Orchard critical community owns me in perpetuity, that I never get to decide that I've covered everything I feel is worth covering, or even that I need to withdraw for my own health and safety. That's not allowed, at least according to Courtney. Like, Courtney does realize that slavery is wrong, yes? That just because I made 7 videos exposing their sister as a sexual predator does not mean I am now their property and can be ordered to create the videos they want for all eternity. Surely they have to realize that. Yet focusing down on these specifics, their claim to not—
Well, again, I don't know why we can't contend with this specific piece here. The criticism is not that, like, you're bestowed and beholden to these people and what kind of content they want you to make. That's not it at all. The criticism is that you have the ability to actually do something instead of just make stupid little YouTube videos about it. Like, you can actually, like, do something about the abuse and shit. Like, that, I don't know why we cannot, like, please, is anybody gonna address this? Has anybody pre-watched this? Does she answer this at all? Does she answer this question at all? Other than just saying the reason that I don't want to tell, like, who this is because rape culture? Hello? Anybody? Can anybody tell me? Anybody who has pre-watched, please help me. Please tell me she fucking addresses this criticism, because it's, like, the most important criticism out of everything. This is the only thing she needs to answer to.
Know or care about my issues with Rachel Oates, my quote—
No, she doesn't.
As Courtney puts it. This,
God damn
again,
it.
reveals just how toxic they are as a person. Rachel Oates abused me. She and her friends, who were working to normalize scientific trans misogyny, specifically the belief that trans women were violent brutes invading women's sports to harm cis women and should thus be stripped of numerous human rights, spent months targeting me and the trans community for daring to defend ourselves. Then, one day, after I'd had Oates blocked for 3 months, she ordered her 100,000 subscribers to circumvent that block to explicitly provoke a response. When I responded, she darvoed me, flipping the abuser-victim dynamic, framing herself as the poor cis woman being attacked by the angry trans femme, in spite of all evidence showing things were the other way around, that I was the one raising barriers she was tearing down. The hate she and her friends directed at me, the same friends who had spent half a year whipping their audiences into an anti-trans frenzy, did so much psychological harm that I am now medicated as a direct result of what Oates did to me. It was the—
This might seem like so... This might just seem so insensitive of me. So please take this with a grain of salt. If you have to be medicated because people are being mean to you on the internet, like, should your career really be making YouTube videos? Like, is that rude of me to say? But if you're to the point where you've been, like, harassed so much online, you know, that it's impacting your daily life, you don't have to, like, make YouTube videos as a career. You could just, like, do something else, right? Like, maybe that's just me being a dick, but, like, if making silly little YouTube videos, like, affected my mental health that much, I would just stop doing it. I would find something else to do. No? Like, I'd be like, okay, guys, like, I can't really hang anymore. It's starting to bother me, you know, it's bleeding into my in real life shit. I'm just not really having fun anymore, blah, 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 whatever. It's not for me anymore. I'm out. Like, no one is, like, holding a gun to your head and making you make YouTube videos for a living. You could get, like, a normal job, right?
the second most traumatic experience I have ever been put through, second only to being raped as a child, and I say that as someone who has been sexually assaulted since. If you ask me whether I prefer to be sexually assaulted like that again, excluding being raped as a child, or put through what Oates did to me, I pick the sexual assault. That's the level of violence Courtney's mocking here.
Why, you guys, oh my god, why can't people just, like, let some of these thoughts stay on the inside? That could have just been an inside thought forever. No. I don't even know what to I don't know what to say, like, what does that say to victims of like assault in your audience, though? Like, you would rather get cyberbullied than raped. I have to move on. I don't know what to say.
Now, I didn't expect Courtney to know all this, but there's a big difference between not knowing something and thus not speaking about it, and not knowing about something yet choosing to mock it. This is especially true when we acknowledge how...
Hermit says she keeps bringing up her own assault while not validating Courtney's. It's really gross. This is that's a good point. That's something that I will pause to acknowledge here, is that, and I noticed, I don't know why people do this. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason or like an underlying like mechanism or whatever to it, but I don't understand when like it just is very like two-faced and fake, in my opinion, where it's like you're somebody who really cares about, you know, victims. You're somebody who really cares about this because it's something that's personal to you. I can totally understand that, right? But then when it comes to other people and their experiences, like she's been kind of hand-waving Courtney's experience with Lily this whole fucking video, has she not? Like, that's the general impression that I'm left with, is where she's like, Courtney doesn't care about the victims and Courtney, Courtney and the victims, Courtney and the victims. Like, it's like she's separating them out on purpose and like refusing to acknowledge that Courtney herself is also a victim, right? And that her story and her like rationalization or like want to pursue legal action and what have you, it comes from like a place of her being a victim herself. But we're really fine to just kind of like sidestep that in the grand scheme of things when we're talking about it. But her abuse is kind of like central to her justification for doing it. It's pretty fucking gross. And it is like out victiming each other. And it's just very distasteful, in my opinion. I find it to be incredibly disrespectful to people that have been victims of assault. It's like, we can have criticisms of Courtney. We can, you know, talk about the beef between the two of them and, you know, kind of do a little back and forth or whatever. I think, whatever, that shit like that happens. Who cares? But the way that she positions it, where it's like, she's othering Courtney from the victims as if she herself is not a victim, is just really fucking weird to me. And if I was Courtney personally, I'd be pretty offended by it. I would find that to be very offensive if I was in her position. I don't understand the need to always like one up on like the victimhood. I don't understand it. I don't understand that desire. I don't know. I guess it's just like external validation. I don't know, but it's gross.
Oh, even without knowing the details, just from a quick glance of the videos I put out and their titles, the sort of shit Oates did is pretty clear. What Courtney is doing to me would be like someone who doesn't know about Lily Orchard and what she's done, coming and mocking Courtney for talking about her, claiming to have no knowledge of what happened between them, but damn, it looks like Courtney just needs to pull that stick out their ass and make up with their sister. Seriously, the way Courtney rants and raves about things is serious overkill, especially after all of these years.
I know what she's trying to do here. She doesn't have the cadence for it. She's trying to position Courtney's criticisms akin to the criticisms that she's leveling against Ethel in like a way where it's like, if I was Courtney, I would essentially, you know, attack her in this way, but she doesn't have the cadence for it, so it sounds like she's saying it legitimately. So like, this is what she's trying to do, you guys. This is what she's trying to do. She's trying to say like, Courtney Orchard said, you know, that I'm doing a bad job with the victims and blah blah blah. Well, in that, I could just say, Courtney, you're doing a bad job with the victims because you're scaring the hoes, is essentially what she's trying to do. But because she has no like cadence in her voice and she can't like be charismatic, it literally just sounds like she's just like shit talking Courtney in the most horrible way. Let's listen to this again.
To have no knowledge of what happened between them, but damn, it looks like Courtney just needs to pull that stick out their ass and make up with their sister. Seriously, the way Courtney rants and raves about
like, there's no change in tone or cadence. So it genuinely sounds like, if you didn't know that's what if you listened to that in passing, you would think that she was actually attacking Courtney in that way. Like, let's one more time.
The sort of shit Oates did is pretty clear. What Courtney is doing to me would be like someone who doesn't know about Lily Orchard and what she's done, coming and mocking Courtney for talking about her, claiming to have no knowledge of what happened between them, but damn, it looks like Courtney just needs to pull that stick out their ass and make up with their sister. Seriously, the way Courtney rants and raves about things is serious overkill, especially after all of these years. I have never done that.
See, like, there's no, she doesn't have like the cadence to do that, and she didn't make it clear enough that she was like making fun of the line of attack. Like, oh god, dude, this looks so bad for her. I can't wait to read the comments on this video, you guys. Oh my fucking god.
Just like I have never labeled Lily Orchard's abuse
as
quote-unquote Lily drama, but Courtney doesn't offer me that same degree of basic respect. No.
What? Back up. What'd she just say?
Overkill, especially after all of these years. I have never done that. Just like I have never labeled Lily Orchard's abuse as quote-unquote Lily drama, but Courtney doesn't offer me that same degree of basic respect. No. My trauma gets reduced down to Rachel Oates' beef.
For right now, I don't know enough about the Rachel Oates / like essence of thought shit, but what I do know to be true is that you would have to present me something really, really damning for me to put it on the same level as Lily Orchard. Like, there is not a single thing, honestly, unless Rachel Oates was literally like Hitler reincarnated. I don't know if I would put that on the same level as Lily Orchard, because that shit is like incredibly fucked. Damn. Okay, moving on. I don't know anything about that. We'll dig into this tomorrow. But as of right now, I would say that the bar is pretty high for her to clear. You know what I mean?
There's just another way in which Courtney is the very thing they're accusing me of being. Yet the shit show continues.
Ethel did some basic coverage of my sister a year or two ago. Well, basic is being generous. She did some shitty coverage of my sister to involve herself and make herself a victim to cry and whine. Am I being facetious? Yes. Do I care? No, not really. Not at all.
What Courtney is talking about here is when I pointed out that Lily Orchard has a habit of sexually harassing her critics, which, at that point in time, included myself. This was a video made not just to point out how Lily Orchard's unwanted sexual remarks made me feel uncomfortable, but to hopefully empower her other victims. Again, we are living in a rape culture where we're taught that sexual harassment is normal, that we should just take it as a compliment and just move on. That's fucked up. Like, nobody should be making sexual comments about their critics, period. Part of me can't believe—
Who made sexual comments about— what are you talking about? Is she talking about, like, Lily Orchard making sexual comments about her, and she's likening that to Courtney being, like, literally fucking raped by her? What?
that Courtney is acting like this is a controversial statement, but then the other half remembers that we live in a rape culture, so what are you gonna do? Well, returning to the video—
Okay, I think that you have to be an exceptionally evil person if you're gonna swing at somebody who is the victim of, like, very, very, very severe CSA, for you to, like, take shots to be like, well, your abuse is the exact same as mine, and you're just silencing victims. And it's like, tact, you guys, tact. Does nobody have this anymore? Is it gone?
What I did is show people how Lily Orchard was sexually harassing her critics. What I did was give them the words and resources to talk about her actions should they continue. What I also did was give them the means to point to Lily Orchard's actions to ask, if she's okay sexually harassing her critics in public, what is she doing to her audience behind closed doors? Yet that act of solidarity gets presented as me centering myself to cry and whine. Also, I find it hypocritical of Courtney to accuse me of centering myself when, unlike them, I've actually bothered to learn and use the names of Lily Orchard's other victims, treating—
Oh my god, she's not name-dropping the victims because she doesn't want to fucking out them or drag them into fucking drama. Are you kidding me? Dude, the person here that they're trying to essentially help and protect is a minor that was sexted by fucking Lily Orchard, and you're willing to name-drop them in your fucking drama hit piece video. Do you not see the difference here? Oh my fucking god, dude.
treating them with respect. In fact, I helped bring Glade and Mackenzie's stories to more people, you know, the exact opposite of centering oneself. Meanwhile, not only has Courtney—
You guys, I am so selfless. I literally told them not to go to the cops because of rape culture so I could make my YouTube videos. I'm centering the victims, hello?
to learn/use the names of Lily Orchard's other victims, but a large portion of this video is predicated on the basis that Lily Orchard's other victims don't matter, that only Courtney matters. That's why they're not—
You have to be smoking crack to think that's what's happening here. You have to be high as a fucking kite. All she wants to do is get this person help. That's all that she wants to do.
After grading our video sharing Glade and Mackenzie's testimonies as boring, they're laughing about spreading bullshit about said testimonies since they don't excite Courtney personally. I say that's a much stronger example of centering oneself than what I'm being accused of. Moving on, we have Courtney parading their ignorance about our financial situation.
I really, like, I just don't like how this— she's literally treating this like it's some, like, fucking esoteric drama. That's how she's responding to it. And for somebody who's above the drama and everything, I would have expected, like, a more tactful response. Wishful thinking on Malcolm's part. Never do that again. But, like, this is fucking nuts, dude. This is fucking nuts. She's, like, the dehumanization that she's, like, screaming and crying about. She's literally doing that to Courtney. Courtney is also a victim. Like, why are you just pretending that she's not? I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. Courtney won't name the minor that was abused. She's devaluing the victims. It's like, bruh, you aren't even acknowledging her as a victim. Oh my god. Ouch. Oof. Oh god, give me like a— Moving on.
Comments about Evangelina taking bread from her starving mouth, as if the monetary revenue is the most important thing regarding ousting my sister, the predator. Made vague underlying threats of my wife, who's also a lawyer, as if she has the direct means to come at Evangelina legally, despite not having an actual case. She also says in the next breath that the two were starving. Sorry, Ethel, but if your wife is a lawyer, it kind of implies that you're at least making ends meet, if not well off. Sure, you aren't Johnny Cochran rich, but that's easily more money than the average person makes a year, even on the low end. Add on top the fact that you're a semi-
this is giving me like the Vosh effect, where I'm just gonna assault you with context. So you forget what the actual criticism is. The actual criticism is that you have the ability to get this person in contact with the police and have charges actually pressed, and you're choosing not to because you want to make your silly YouTube videos. Like everything outside of an answer to that question is bullshit noise.
Successful YouTuber? You aren't strapped for cash, and we all know it. So kindly sit down, rest your injured foot you like to bring up so much, and shut the fuck up.
Ah yes, the argument from incredulity. Courtney doesn't know how the real world works, therefore I must be wrong. For a start,
I would be willing to bet that like a newborn baby squirrel knows how the world works a little bit better than Ethel does if she honestly thinks that not going to the police with this information because of rape culture is somehow helping anyone in this situation.
Dita's a human rights lawyer working in India. That means when she was employed, she was making around $400 a month. Not exactly the big bucks they're pretending.
Okay, but what is the cost of living in India? Average cost of living in India. The average estimated cost monthly are about $1,000 USD. A single person estimated monthly costs are $344.7. So, wait, how much did she say?
But perhaps more when she was employed, she was making around $400 a month.
Okay, she was making about $400 a month, so that's about the estimated cost of living for a single person in India. It's $50 higher than the average cost of living for a single person living in India. Do you work?
Not exactly the big bucks they're pretending. But perhaps more important than that, as noted in the original Score video, Adita is unemployed, and has been such since last year. I even explained the reason why in the video, how the Indian government has sent the entire human rights sector into meltdown thanks to new regulations placed on the UN. So it wasn't a blink and miss it sort of thing. Courtney's just back to their old tricks, lying again. As for our current income...
Okay, bruh, talking shit is not lying. Just like a gentle roast is not a lie. She's just like picking on you. She's taking the piss out of you, that's all.
My Patreon is public, 2/3 of what I earn goes into rent, the other 1/3 into utilities, that leaves nothing to cover food, medicine, transport, and therapy, because for as much as people tell me I need some, none of them seem willing to pay for it. That's why, as also explained in the original Score video, I'm having to borrow $120 a month from my dad to put food on the table, meaning that's another lie by omission on Courtney's part, bringing us up to, what now? 8. That's 8 blatant lies.
Wait, this is why doesn't she work? Is this just like her primary source of income, and so she doesn't work, she just does this? I'm genuinely asking, I'm not trying to be a dick, I'm just asking. And also, again, this is a fair point, Astrostorm, why do we care? It's not part of the argument, true. Like, we're getting stunt locked, so masterful, you guys. Keep getting stunt locked on irrelevant shit. We're never addressing the actual fucking argument and the actual fucking criticism. We keep getting stunt locked on all this silly meandering. Like, she attacked my income. It's like, okay, but what about the minor? Hello? Can we go back to that? Like, it's meandering, and she's good at it because she got me too. I Googled the cost of living in India because I was so interested in this point. She got me. She fucking got me, dude. Oh my god, she's really good. She's really good.
Wrestling Score by mentioning my wife is a lawyer, ignoring that she's an Indian human rights lawyer. The context of me noting such was the fact that, as part of her training, Adita had to do time as a paralegal, meaning she's been trained to automatically glean any information from a document. What? This came up since she was the one who noticed Score's personalized email telling me which agency they were with. As for how this could be a threat, I'm a little confused on that, since I was very open about the fact that I had zero intention of trying to pursue things via court, making clear that I would do what I always did, try to raise awareness, being very explicit about the fact that we'd moved beyond making amends. If I was threatening Skov, wouldn't it make sense for me to do so when I first reached out? Again, Courtney's assertions don't make sense.
Okay, to be fair, I do know this much. I know that she didn't threaten Vangelina, but she did say that she would pursue legal action if she didn't give her like 30% of her fucking ad revenue. If you want to play semantic runabout, okay, technically that's not a threat, but it's like you are trying to like extort her for money because she took a screenshot that you also put in your fucking video. Like, come on.
Stop to think about them. The last thing I want to comment on is Courtney's general positioning throughout their video, perhaps best shown in the following.
You like to try and bully people and throw your social weight around. I implore you to try with me. Have your
let's
lawyer
go,
wife
Courtney.
look over everything and give you her notes. Threaten me with vague legal action. Try a cease and desist. See if that gets the "oh, well, I'm scared" reaction you're always trying to go for.
She's so outclassed. She doesn't know how to deal with somebody who isn't an Usopp, and she doesn't know what to do.
I had plans on being a lawyer myself for most of my life.
She's waffling.
Doing semantics is my bread and butter. Come at me, snake. Pick
She's
on someone your own
waffling.
size. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose, and honey bun, I'm free as a bird.
If she's living there on a visa, she can't get her. If she's married though, don't you? Is it like in the U.S. where you're granted citizenship? So, like, if I moved to India and I met, like, a nice Indian man and we got married, wouldn't I be granted citizenship or able to at least get citizenship and work? Or does it not work like that in India? I don't know.
Serious question. When have I ever threatened anyone with legal action?
You literally said you were going to send, like, a cease and desist letter to Vangelina. No?
Feel free to go through every single one of my videos, my posts, etc. The answer is never. Even when people defame me, I respond not with threats, but rebuttals, evidence. I respond in the classic, the truthful out stance I've been operating in since my days as a secular YouTuber. That's why I always bring more evidence to the table rather than try to bury it. This entire section, much like the title of the video and the accusations of trivializing abuse, is nothing more than pure projection. Courtney is the one who has gotten high off of attacking us for weeks whilst we said nothing due to us not wanting to harm their credibility or the credibility of the community in general. Like, let's consider the title, Don't Poke the Bear, Ethel. What is this reference to? What poking am I being accused of? The only thing I did prior to our videos was reach out to Courtney to provide evidence that I didn't have some personal vendetta against them. I saw this accusation again in the post Courtney was responding to when they confirmed that the reason they hated me was because of the breakdown in communications involving Brit, with the original post stating that I, quote, can't leave alone, end quote. Again, what do they mean by this? Where did I ever go after Courtney? Nowhere. And yet, in spite of biting my tongue for weeks, I'm still being presented as the one provoking the situation. Why? No reason. The evidence? Oh, they don't have any. Sadly, I have no doubt that this will become the narrative everyone flips to the moment this video goes out. In spite of me being able to show Courtney lying at 8 distinct points, lies that any—
It's not about the lies. Answer to the criticism. The criticism is that you can do something and you're choosing not to because ACAB trans misogyny.
honest person would support being corrected. I have no doubt that I'll still be painted as the violent aggressor. That video is claiming
I'm gonna be painted as the violent aggressor. No, dude. Oh my god. Ah!
that I'm attacking victims will go out, even though the very reason this video exists is to protect Lily Orchard's victims, specifically the ones Courtney, in their irrational hatred of me, has deemed disposable. Will it matter that—
Oh my god, that's why she's trying to actually do something and you're just in your fucking virtue signal tower, true.
I've refrained from personal attacks and callous mockery of their trauma throughout the video? No. Will it matter that I did my best to ignore them, to put the well-being of the community before my own ego? Of course not. Will it matter that Courtney's lies have harmed Lily Orchard's victims, not to forget done damage to the community's credibility? Not a chance in hell. For some, the mere act of criticizing Courtney as Lily Orchard's first victim will be on par with heresy, and people will call for me to be burned at the stake. But hey,
it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. Oh god. Is this almost over? Please. I can't take anymore.
This is one of those instances. Maybe the channels who willingly sold their audiences Courtney's misinformation without any backing evidence to begin with will do the right thing. Maybe they'll issue corrections and apologies, not just to myself and their audience, but to Lily Orchard's victims, namely Glade, Levi, and Mackenzie, for the harm they—
I just don't think that it's appropriate for you to, like, just keep using these people that are victims as, like, a bludgeon to kind of win the fucking argument when you're just totally discrediting Courtney as a fucking victim in all of this.
Maybe. I doubt it, but I can still hope. I can't control what other people think. All I can do is put the evidence out there and invite them to take a look. That is what I have done. Courtney is not some god. They're not immune to criticism just because they're Lily Orchard's sibling, nor should they be allowed to get away with harming Lily Orchard's victims. Courtney is merely proof that being the victim of terrible things doesn't magically guarantee that you'll turn into a good person. I have no intention of engaging any further with this community, outside of a single video tackling rape apologists Ephron, Yopal Gao, and Patch for the sake of the people they attacked, namely the victims that entrusted me with their testimonies. This was a video planned way back at the end of 2022, we just decided to wait a year to give the testimonies time to spread before calling out other creators for their horrific abuse apologia. It's one of the—
Oh my god. We were planning on doing this big expose a long time ago, but I decided it was more important for me to call out Vangelina for ripping one fucking screenshot from my video. God.
Before I can move on to hopefully better and brighter things, I had hoped to have those 3 videos done by the end of March, only to get sucked into Scott's bullshit and the other surprises that came with it, not to mention the financial burden. Suffice to say, I already feel like I need another 2-month break, but that isn't coming.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Look forward to get these next few videos done and start a new chapter on the channel. The evidence is here for whoever wants it. That's all that matters in the end. And if you'd like to help out in that goal of sharing the evidence, please consider becoming one of our wonderful patrons who make—
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fuck me, dude. That's horrible. That is horrible. That is so fucked up, dude. I cannot get over this. Like, you have direct access to somebody who can get fucking Lily Orchard convicted and, like, have her fucking go to jail. She can't hurt anybody if she's in jail. And your whole argument against it is ACAB. Like, I don't fuck— Oh my god, dude. Oh, Ethel. Oh, sorry, it's Transmisa now, my bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to be transphobic on main. Fuck me, dude, that's so crazy. Oh.